Hello, this video is on behalf of EK Supplies, supplier of ICOE disc cutters. In this video, I'm going to go over the difference between different disc cutter sets, and I'm going to go over the tools that you need and the proper way to use a disc cutter set. I'm Erin Keck. I'm a traveling art instructor and I teach throughout the United States, and I'm an owner of EK Supplies and EK Creations. Okay, the first thing I want to go over here is our three sets that I have, all from ICOE. ICOE is a brand that I've gotten to use and I stand by this brand. There are more expensive brands and there certainly are less expensive brands. This is one of those deals that you get what you pay for. If you want a $25, $30 disc cutter set, you're going to get a $25, $30 disc cutter set. And what I mean by that is you're going to get a set that the disc is not going to fit properly through, and there's going to be a lot of give. So therefore, when you put your piece of metal in there, you're going to hit and hit and hit, and you're not going to be able to get straight through that metal. And when you do get through it, it's going to be very rigid and rough and sharp edges. It's not going to be a clean cut. So, like I said, you get what you pay for. This is a middle-of-the-road price set. There certainly are more expensive sets out there, and they're very good. This is what I have found is the best product for the money. The three sets that I have here are, as I said, are all ICOE disc cutter sets. The smaller set is a basic set. It comes in a cardboard case. That's what it comes in and how it comes. And when you open it, the set will come wrapped in this hard plastic. This is to keep these disc cutters, because they are steel, from getting rusted if they are sitting on shelves and not being used. Okay. On this particular set, you can cut from 1/2 inch all the way up to 1 inch. These are called punches. These sets are mainly used for metal. I usually am using 24 gauge copper, but it will cut all the way down to 20 to 18 gauge copper. It also will cut silver, metal, silver, gold, and precious metals, and also nickel, tin, and brass. So this is my first basic set. It has 5 punches. That's what these are called, punches. And that's that set. My next set that I have is also from ICOE here, and it is an 8 punch set. And the punches in this set are from 5/8 all the way up to 7/8. This one doesn't go all the way quite up to 1 inch, just shy of 1 inch. But in my classes that I'm teaching, I don't usually use the 1 inch anyway, so that doesn't bother me. Now, like I said, with this set, they do have a smaller set that's like this, and it's from 1/8 up to 5/8 of an inch. This would be your largest punch. So they do have 2 sets of these. I carry basically the 7/8 to 1 inch set, or 1/2 inch to 1 inch set. So like I said, with this particular set, it is in numbers, which is kind of cool. So like this one you see is number 15. So when I get my block out, I'm going to look for number 15 and know that's where that punch is going to fit. So you're not going to be confused at all. This third set that I got is a new set that I just purchased from ICOE. It's a very nice set. There's 11 punches to it. It cuts from 1/8 inch all the way up to 1 inch. What's different about this set and these 2 sets are this set in particular opens up. Hold on one second. It opens up and allows you to put your metal in and then press it down so that the metal's not moving around at all, especially if you're close to an edge on the metal, and your disc will go straight through. Let me see, I think it's this one. Here's the one. Oopsie, no it's not. It is this one. All right. So that's the main difference between these three sets. This one has way more punches in it, and also it has the ability to open and close. So like I said, this set goes from 1/8 inch all the way up to 1 inch. I just unboxed that, so there's some oil still on the base of that one. Now, some things that we need to use when we're working with a disc cutter set. You're going to need either a brass hammer or a 1 pound dead blow hammer. I use a 1 pound dead blow hammer because it has steel shot in it. And I like these, they're Pittsburgh brand, and I also sell these. These are nice because they're not going to mar, because they're like a plastic, a pliable plastic. They're not going to mar the edge of my punch when I hit it. Also with a dead blow, it just, when you hit and the shot lands there, it's just boom, all the pressure is right there. Something else you're going to need to use with your disc cutter sets is a rubber bench block. You don't want to be hammering on top of steel, because if you're hammering these punches into steel, you're going to be taking a chance of marring the edges of these sharp edges. So you definitely want to use a rubber bench block underneath it. Wood is okay too, a hard wood is all right. I just use a rubber bench block. Something else that you need to have on hand is something called cut lube. In my shop I sell gem lube. And what this is for drills, for drill bits, it's for saws, and it works great on these edges of these disc cutter sets. Just put that on the end there. If for some reason I'm having trouble getting it to go through, put a little bit of that. All it is a wax. I put a little bit of cut lube on the edges and it goes right through. Now something else I wanted to tell you guys, with a good disc cutter set, you're going to be able to tell it's a good disc cutter set. Let me see here. That's a good one to show. See how it angles at the end? That's so that all the pressure is not on the whole punch when you're hitting. It has that one edge that's a little bit longer and starts the cut. Sometimes you'll get through with one cut, sometimes it takes 2, and sometimes it takes 3, as far as hit goes. It's much harder to get a 1-inch punch to go through metal than it is to get a 1/8 inch punch through metal, because you just have more surface area that you're having to go through, and you have to hit that much harder. Now, something you also need to keep in mind, there's 2 ends to a disc cutter set. There's a sharp end and there's a beveled end. All of these disc cutter sets have a slightly beveled end to it. You never ever want to hit this sharp end by dropping that in upside down. This is a big no-no. If you mar the edge of this in any way, you've ruined that punch. So try to always remember that your sharp end is going down and your domed end is up, the end that's going to be hit. When I'm teaching all of my classes, I'm always telling my students, please, if you have any question as to which is the sharp end and which one isn't, don't ever feel stupid. Just make sure you're not hitting that sharp end. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to use this set because this is my baby. This is what I use all the time in my studio. I'm going to just pop this set off of here for now and set it to the side. Here's my rubber bench block. I'm going to take my disc cutter set out and lay it on top of my bench block. And, oh, I don't know, let's take number 19. 19 is one that I use a lot. It's probably, in comparison, it is about a 3/4 inch, a 3/4 inch punch. And you can see on this one even how it's honed on the end on an angle. Haven't used this set in a while, so I'm going to wax it. And just going to plop it in here just to make sure it goes through real good. And it is. The whole, and that's a good way to make sure your whole inside is waxed. Here's my piece of copper. It's a piece of 24 gauge roofing copper, actually. If I was working with a lower gauge, something that was more thick and not as pliable, I would be wanting to maybe anneal it ahead of time, and by that I mean heating it with a torch to soften the metal so that the punch would go through a lot easier. But this being 24 gauge, it's pretty soft. I never have too much trouble. With this set, I'm going to put my piece in to the hole where I'm going to be cutting. You want to make sure your whole piece is in, not just half of it, because we're not cutting half a circle, we're cutting a whole circle. Okay, I'm going to drop, whoops, no, did you see what I almost did? And I could feel that as soon as I did it. You want to make sure you know your beveled edges on top, sharp edges on the bottom, and drop it in. I'm going to take my 1 pound dead blow hammer and I'm going to whack it straight on top of there. Should only take 2 or 3 times. 3 times max. If you're hitting this more than 3 times, then you need to take this disc, this punch out, maybe turn it a little bit and drop it back in again, because something's just not grabbing right. And there it is. It was really through on the second hit. Nice and smooth disc, no edges, no roughness to it, just a nice smooth disc. Now, in a case like this, when my punch doesn't go all the way through, you never want to pull it back out, because you could get the metal caught on there and you're taking a chance of roughening up this edge. You want to punch it the rest of the way through, like that. And that's how you do it. I'll do one more for you. Let's try a different one. Well, let's try something smaller, like a 16. Okay, I'm going to look for number 16. It's the next to the smallest. Give it a little bit of cut lube on there. And just practice making sure it goes through there nice and... It's very snug fit, but make sure it's waxed all the way down there. Alright, I'm going to put my piece of metal in. And I'm going to line it up right next to the one that I just cut, but not so that any air shows through or daylight shows through. I'm going to drop my punch in there till it lands right on top of it. Should only take like 2 hits, maybe 3. Well, it took 1. So there you have it. There's the number 16 disc. Punch it through. And no problem with that. Now, let me demonstrate this bigger set for you really quick. This is the one I told you that has the little hex key to wind it down and wind it up. So you just would open up your key so you can drop your metal in wherever you want to. Let's just try this one here. And I believe this is, maybe this one, which is 5/8 of an inch. You're going to wind that down so that it holds your metal in place. don't have to like wind it up, down real far. Just enough that it holds your metal in place and you can see it. I'm going to, since this is a new set, I'm going to put my cut lube on this. And I don't think I've ever used this one on copper yet, at least. So, I need to. And this has the rounded beveled top, which these are really nice because they are much more rounded and much more on this bigger set than this set. So you can really realize if you're going to hit the wrong end. 2 hits. There it is. Okay, I'm going to have to unwind this then to get my piece of copper out. And there's my hole. What's neat about this too, I could take another set and maybe a little wider, make my own washer if I wanted to. But anyhow, this is my ICOE sets that I have in stock that I use in my classes. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at egk1313@aol.com, or you can message me on my Etsy site at eksupplies.etsy.com. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learned something.